So let's just settle into our meditation posture. And I mean, it's not a thing in Australia, Thanksgiving, but I do know it's quite a big thing here. Like, I think for you all, it's for Americans, I think it's even a bigger a deal than Christmas, right? Maybe because you're all so exhausted after Thanksgiving. Christmas is just a time to go shopping. I don't know. But anyway, I think what I get most out of Thanksgiving is this idea of gratitude. So maybe we can think tonight before we start, just have a little brief meditation on all the things that we're grateful for. So let's just, as we're settling into our meditation posture. And, you know, this focus on gratitude also helps if anybody's feeling particularly down, a little bit low. If you start to look at all the things in your life that are, in fact, your own good qualities, and, you know, the relationships that you have, the food that you can put on the table, the roof that you have over your head, then it becomes quite a sweet little practice. And you can do it very, very briefly. You know, so we are moving into that. Next week will be Thanksgiving. So we start thinking about all the things that we're actually grateful for. So let's just check your body, and feet and legs are hips width apart, sits bones are slightly raised, and shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light and is stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just imagine you're lengthening some space in between your vertebrae and stretching out all those muscles along the back. And your head is very slightly tipped forward, eyes are down, looking on the length of the nose. Tip the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Just relax the jaw. Now just bring your awareness to the crown of the head and just relax your scalp, move down through the body, scanning your face, back of the head, the ears, back of the tongue, your neck, your shoulders, shoulder blades, your throat, and chest, and belly, limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And just bring your mind to the breath. Just feel, as you're noticing the sensation of the air flowing in and out of the nostrils as you're inhaling and exhaling. And if you notice any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Right now I have the very gentle hum of the washer and the dryer in the garage. I can hear it from here. Sounds like home to me. So whatever it is that you're hearing, whether it's sounds from outside, inside your home, people in your home, just try not to have the mind go off and investigate. Just allow the sounds to be there. Just be aware of them, to try to have them in your kind of like out of focus awareness. Then bring your attention to what's going on in your mind, what thoughts, feelings are arising, and just allow them. And try not to judge, criticize, or have opinions. Try to move away from sort of negative self-talk. And we just, again, remember we're like scientific observers, just watching those thoughts. And we're like putting ourselves on the banks of that river and watching the river flow on by. And so while we're free from that river. We're not engaged. We're not being swept away down the stream. Just sitting on the bank, nice and safe, watching. So we try and do the same with our thoughts. So we get engaged in our thoughts. You never know where we're going to end up. Quite often it's negative. So this is why we are doing this purification practice. Before we get into that, let's just bring to mind very quickly all the people of our life, our loved ones, our besties, these people who we have positive and constructive relationships with. And then there's the people in our life who we are a little bit nervous about. And then there's those strangers, and always remembering these relationships can change, switch. So try not to take those ones you love for granted. And then also good to think, perhaps try and be a little bit more equal in the way we think about people, not just reserving all our love and kind thoughts for the ones we are close to, but maybe trying to be a bit equanimous, maybe. Think, remembering that all beings are equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering. And everybody has this inside them, this incredible capacity for enlightenment. So I think we'll bring all these people to our mind. We were going to do this practice for them. Let's have a special little thought for Hin. Hope her COVID gets better very quickly and that it's very light. It doesn't progress any further. So we create negativity with our mind. So we're going to create positivity with our mind instead this evening. So we start with regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And you can think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. So the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, cause and effect. So we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of future suffering that we're going to experience. So we know from the present suffering, we don't want it. So logically, it makes sense to pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart, having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest of the cause of why we harm others, our delusions. So think again, I'm sick of this suffering, and what can I do about it, and whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, not some higher power that's going to forgive us or take everything away. So he has the methods that we can use to purify. So we are purifying ourselves by relying on his methods. Just like you go see a doctor and take some medicine to get better. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can also imagine this is your teacher manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. And you can imagine that Vajrasattva is made of radiant, blissful white light. And he's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, which is born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. And he has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful, sort of like shaped like lotus petals, and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a Vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents a union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So here we are, this little section again on compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon sentient beings. So we think about the beings we have harmed, and then those who have harmed us. And think particularly for those who have harmed us, because the suffering they've caused us is most likely going to ripen, according to the text, will ripen as suffering for them in the future. So we can think of them because of that. So make the strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and just think, must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. So we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Hanarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jira Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Supokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jira Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Supokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jira Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Supokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jira Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Supokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jira Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Supokaya Mibawa Anarakta Mibawa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you have ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think there is no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. So the next is the purification of speech. And again, Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body. Except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So quite forcefully overflowing and disappearing into space. So you can imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying, talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you and overflowing as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jaya Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mepi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jaya Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So just imagine that everything that comes out of your mouth is beneficial for yourself, because you'll be hearing it, and for the other person. So next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you switch on a light, that light instantly dispels the darkness. So just imagine the same thing. And the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart. It just instantly dispels all the darkness of the negativity of the mind. So depression, anxiety, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, disappointments, all of this completely dispelled by this light and the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jada Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva din patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of our suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech. And these are, imagine, totally purified, gone. And think now, there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar and fills you completely, eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. So if you wish, you can do a couple of mantras for each of the visualizations of body, speech, and mind, visualizing light and nectar pouring in, or just filling you completely, and just getting rid of all those very, very subtle imprints as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Jada meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Trita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now we come again to the power of resolve. So this is a really crucial step, not to be forgotten when you're doing it alone. First of all, rejoice in your own efforts. And maybe you've discovered you're doing some habits a little bit less. And again, whatever it is you're working on, keep working on it. Give yourselves a reasonable timeline, not too long. If you can manage a whole day or half a day or even an hour for refraining from something that's harmful to yourself and others with your body, speech, and mind. Let's make a little project, keep a journal if that's helpful. And imagine Vajrasattva is absolutely delighted with you, wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you can think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. And so next, we meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. So we're thinking, in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So however you remember about emptiness, whatever you remember learning about it, whatever you understand, just think. We'll think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think that perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you have created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers, honoring the three jewels, savor of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request, O Lama, please live long. And for Geshe Shara, beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for hosting, Alexis. Lots of love, everybody. Hin, get well soon.